And joining us now for reaction, Thane Rosenbaum and Amir Benno. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I'll start with you first, Amir. How do you read this ruling and what are the implications? And obviously, we're not just talking New York. This goes beyond that. I think there are 8 other states.
Yeah, so I read the ruling. I think it's the right ruling, and I think it's just an extension of what the Supreme Court's already recognized back in 2008 in Heller when it decided that the Second Amendment is an individual right. It said that the core central component of this Second Amendment right is self-defense and to protect against confrontation. And in this case, the court said there's nothing in the text of the Second Amendment that limits that right to within your home, that you can have a confrontation outside of your home. And so it recognized that the Second Amendment does protect the right to carry outside of the home. And then when it decided whether you can regulate that, it looked at New York's broad prohibition on carrying outside the home and said there's nothing in our historical tradition in this country that would support doing that. So this is completely different than what we've done historically, and therefore they struck it down.
Yeah, and I think it's important to point out that this doesn't mean that you don't have to have a license to get a gun in New York. And I think that's something that has kind of fallen out of the narrative that as we've been hearing this reported today. Thane, your thoughts?
Katrina, you're right. But remember, that's the same hysteria about abortion. Yeah. Right? That if Roe v. Wade is overturned, that just sends the matter back to the states. Because the justices, at least from what we saw the leaked opinion, all they were saying is that the Constitution doesn't provide for the right, but it is a political and a moral matter, and the right still exists in states that wish to offer it. And similarly here, one of the things that the justices were saying is there a right? Remember, this is very different from abortion. Abortion is not enumerated in the Constitution. The right to bear arms is. It's the Second Amendment. So I think what you're also hearing is sort of the exasperation of conservative justice that was saying, is this a right or is this not a right? You know, you have to make up your mind. Congress has left this in place. 10 years ago, finally, it was decided the right existed within the home for self-defense. And now, 10 years later, we're told that the right also extends beyond the home for self-defense, and that if you provide any restriction, it has to be a reasonable restriction. As you're right, Katrina, the law still is there. It doesn't outlaw abortion. Gun ownership. It's still, there will still be licensing requirements, but they should make sense, and they should not provide an undue burden, which is, as Amir said, is what you saw here, where you had to literally prove someone is out to kill me. I know that person, and that's the reason I need the permit.
Yeah, that's what made it a may issue situation, a may issue state. They may issue it to you. You may have to jump through some hoops, prove that you really need one, which may or may not be believed. You're depending on someone else, the state, to make that decision, as opposed to the shall issue. They have to give you a really good reason you don't get one. But let's move on the conversation. If we have a reporter, and gentlemen, if you could stand by, we'll get back